Today in math, we're going to talk about adding two-digit numbers that have a sum greater than 100. But first, let's talk about today's date. Today's date is April 20th, 2020. So if you're keeping track on your calendar at home, you can fill in the dates for the weekend. And today is Monday, the 20th. How many days are in the month of April? If you don't remember, let's say our poem together. Say it with me. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February alone, which has 4 and 24, till leap year gives it 1 day more. Okay, so how many days are in the month of April? You're right. There are only 30 days in the month of April. Most months have 31, as you know, but April is one of the 4 that only has 30 days. So today is the 20th. We're getting pretty close to the end of April, aren't we? Let's count to see what will be the last day of April. Okay, here we go. So we're on Monday the 20th, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Right here will be the last day of April. That will be next. Let's ride the elevator up and find out what day. That will be next Thursday. Will be the last day of April. So we're coming down to the end of the month, and then of course, what month comes after April? Well, I'm sure you already know. Let's look over here. What month comes after April? Yes, May. One of the shortest months of the year as far as letters are concerned, the month of May. And we will talk more about that month next week. All right. So we have been in school. Does anyone remember? Do you know? Okay, so last Tuesday, I told you that we had been in school for 144 days. Okay, so that was last Tuesday. Let's count and see how many days we've been in school. 145, 146, 147. We'll skip the weekend. 148. All right, guys, 148. We are getting awfully close to a bundle up, aren't we? How many days away from a bundle up? If you said 2, you are right. Okay, we are very close to 150. Wow, that's a big milestone, is 150. Do you remember how many days we are in school? You're right, it is approximately 180. And so if we are very close to 150, we'll hit 150 this week. We're coming down home stretch to the end of school here. Okay, all right, let's talk about our lesson today. So we're going to talk about adding two-digit numbers that have a sum greater than 100. So we usually, when we add two-digit numbers, we usually add numbers that are less than 100, okay? We usually add numbers like 43 plus 32, okay? All right, 43 plus 32. Let's add this together. We're going to add our ones. 3 plus 2 is 5. And add our tens. 4 plus 3 equals 7. What's the answer? 75. Very good. Is that less than 100? Yes, it is. Okay. Now, sometimes when we add two-digit numbers, we add them and we have to trade for a dime, don't we? Okay. So let's do. Let's add 67 plus 28. 67 plus 28. Okay, well, let's add this up. What is 7 plus 8? You're right, it is 15. Do I need to trade for a dime? Yes, I do. I'm going to trade for a dime. How many pennies are left? 5. Very good. There we have 15. Now let's add our tens. 1 plus 6 equals 7. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Very good. What is the answer to 67 plus 28? It's 95. Ooh, we are really close to 100, aren't we? But did it go over 100? No, it did not. All right, so now we're going to add together a number that does go over 100 and see what that looks like, okay? Okay, sorry about that. My board moved there. Okay. All right, so let's take a number like 75, okay? And we're going to add 29. Okay, now I want you to look at that. Do you think this number will be greater than 100? Do you think the sum will be greater than 100? Okay, let's try it out here and see if it is. What is 5 plus 9? You're right, it is 14. Let's trade for a dime, and we have 4 pennies. What is 1 plus 7? It is 8, and then 8 plus 2 is 10. And look what I do here, guys. I know we did this, I did an example of this in class one day, but what do we do when it equals, when it's more than a single digit number? This is a double digit number, it's 10. What do we do? Well, if you do not have any more numbers here, then you just simply write that number, don't you? Okay, so 1 plus 7 plus 2 equals 10. So I just write the 10, and what is my total there? What is the sum? It is 104. So 75 plus 29, when we add it up, the sum is greater than 100, isn't it? How could you know, when you look at this number, before you even add it up, how could you possibly know that this might be greater than 100? You could look at your tens place. I'm sure you've already figured this out. You can look at your tens place and you can add those numbers up quickly. Okay, now you might have done that. 7 plus 2 is 9. But if you're going to have to trade for a dime, you know, that's going to be 10. Okay, or it's going to be 11 or 12. It's going to be more than 10. And so I know this number is going to go over 100. Let's do another example. Let's say we have the number 66. What number could we add to 66 that would be greater than 100? I want you to think about that. Think about your tens. If you have 6 tens, how many tens do you need to make 10 tens, right? Because that would get you to 100 or more, okay? I hope you're thinking there. I'm going to try a number here. I'm going to add 52. Okay, so 66 plus 52. Look at your tens there. Do you think your tens are going to be greater than 100 or greater than 10, right? Which would make 100. Yes, I think so, guys. Look at that, because you know what 6 plus 5 equals. Okay, so let's add up the problem and see what the sum is. Okay, 6 plus 2. Start with our ones. What is 6 plus 2? It is 8. What is 6 plus 5? 6 plus 5 equals 11, which is greater than 10, right? Which means your answer is going to be greater than 100. What do? We're just going to write that number 11. So 66 plus 52 equals 118. Okay, now you'll notice I have some numbers written up here. Now this is always fun in class when I get to interact with you, and what I usually do is have you guys help me figure out numbers that I can add together that would equal more than 100. I do not have you here to help me, so I'm just gonna have to pretend that you're giving me some input here, okay? But what I want you to do at home is I want you to think about these numbers and which ones you would add together, okay? All right, so we have 6 two-digit numbers. If I wanted to add 2 of these two-digit numbers together and I wanted it to equal more than 100, which ones could I add together? Okay, I'm just going to get started. I'm going to pick one and I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to start with 84. Okay, so I'm going to mark out 84 up there. What number could I add to 84 that would be more than 100? Well, this is pretty easy, isn't it? Because you know that 84 is awfully close to 100 as it is. So it won't take much to get over 100. All right, so how about we add, I'm sure you guys are picking some numbers. I'm just going to add the smallest one here. I'm going to add 28. Do you think this will equal more than 100? Look at your tens. Is that going to be 10 or more? Yes, it is. Let's add this up. What is 4 plus 8? Yes, it is 12. Do we have to trade for a dime? Yes, we do. We have 2 tens left. Okay, what is 1 plus 8? It is 9, and 9 plus 2. 9 plus 2 is 11. I'm going to write that number 11. And so what is the sum? 84 plus 28 equals 112. That is more than 100. Okay? All right. Now, let's pick another one. This time I'm going to start small. I'm going to do the smallest number that we have left. What is the smallest number left up there? You're right, it is 35. If we start with 35, we have a long way to go to get to 100, don't we? Okay, but look at those numbers. So we have 45, 71, and 59 left. Do you think any of those numbers, if added to 35, would be greater than 100? Think about your tens. If you added up those tens, which of those numbers could we add together to equal more than 100? I hope you're looking at this 71 right here, right? Because you know that 7 plus 3 is 10, and that's even before we may have to trade for a dime, right? So let's add 71. Okay, here we go. Let's add this up. What's 5 plus 1? It is 6. We do not need to trade for a dime, do we? What is 3 plus 7? It is 10. We do not have any numbers in the hundreds place, so we're going to write that number 10. And what does 35 plus 71 equal? It is 106. We just barely went over 100, but sure enough, it is more than 100. Good job. Okay, we only have a couple of numbers left up here. We have 45 and 59. Do you think if we added 45 and 59, it would equal more than 100? Well, you may be looking at your tens and thinking 4 plus 5, that's only 9. It might be awfully close, right? It's going to depend on whether we have to trade for a dime. Let's try it. 45 plus 59. Okay? All right. Let's add our ones. 5 plus 9 equals, you're right, it is 14. We do have to trade for a dime. We have 4 pennies left. And let's add up our tens. 1 plus 4 equals 5. And 5 plus 5 equals 10. Look at that. That's another one really close to 100, but indeed it is just 4 over 100. So 45 plus 59 does equal 100. Okay, this can be a lot of fun when you're adding numbers together. When you look at them and you're thinking, is this going to be more than 100 or not? You can always take a look at that tens place and just do a little bit of mental math there. And sometimes you can just quickly figure out whether you think it's going to be right at 100, right before 100, or more than 100. Okay, good job, guys.